Napier Tower. Sorry for the long wait there. Golf Romeo 516 requesting airways clearance to Christchurch. Probably too long a wait. And that was 1, 2, 4. Okay, so obviously that's not a happening thing anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Christchurch Centre, Golf Romeo 516, radio check. Okay, so far so good. I'm in Napier right now. Ah, very funny, mate. Well, there you go. You're in Napier for real. How did I know that? Fucking psychic. Well, you'd be familiar with the Odd Blocks 2 departure off runway 34 then, I guess. I'm guessing. Yeah, I thought, I figured you meant for real. Yeah, I'm not hearing the... Okay. Yeah, sorry mate, I'm not hearing your transmissions at all. Could be me. Nah, okay. Okay, well I'm seeing a receive light, but I'm not hearing you, so I'm not too sure. I might just log off and log back on and see if that helps the situation. New voice service, so good. Napier to Christchurch tomorrow morning. What are the odds? That's funny as, Adam. Okay, well, you can relive this flight. You can just check out what's going to happen tomorrow morning if you want to. That's bizarre. No, not hearing a thing. Okay, mate. Take care.
Yeah.
See you later on.
Sure.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing that receive light. I'm seeing the receive light, but I'm still not hearing it. I'll just check my little audio settings here too. think we might have action here. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. My guess is I've just fixed this. Golf Romeo 516. Just radio check, please. Almost fixed it. Two. Yeah, no, we're nearly there. We've got to be nearly there. Yeah, the trouble is here I've got several microphones floating around in the sim. Two. Hello. It's always good when you work on the sim before you have a flight. Adjust the mic. Aha! Adjust the mic. Hello. Okie dokie. So that, yeah, that should be all good. Realistic ATC audio effects. We'll go again. New Zealand Centre Golf Romeo 516 radio check. No, another thing. No. That's right. Okay, dudes, I'm sorry about that. My bad. Don't know exactly what's going on there. Thanks for your help, and I'll try and get it sorted. I'm assuming it's my end. On route control was. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that. The trouble is, not going to happen. Let's check one more possibility. Heard that all right. Yeah, absolutely. This headset's right. Everything's right. It just doesn't work. Okay, I'll give this one more shot and then it's like a reboot the sim and fly again another day. So radio check for Golf Romeo 516, please, mate. Nah. Looks like we're out of here. Okay, once again, thanks for your help. I'll jump off here and yeah, I've got your 123.7, 100%. Okay, take care. I'll jump off. I'll figure this out. Cheers. We'll go for a fly anyway. Bloody hell. I knew it was an odd blocks, bloody 2 departure. Figure the rest of the shit out anyway. Let's have a fly. Probably just should have said text only, would be there. We would have been there by now. Yeah, I reckon direct PM. Since how we're offline, the world is our oyster. Why just 6? Q800. H159. CH for what it's worth. Oh, hang on. Better go back and do some more work on that. This is stews and feed. Transition up to shoot. I'll put it as 10,000. That's 5 for the other. Take off a Rooney. Click, click, click. 149. This crazy amount of fuel. I don't know what's going on there. It's going to be fun. packs are off. Starting engine do. Fuel into that puppy. Start engine 1 while we're at it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Captain and the entire crew would like to welcome you aboard. May I kindly ask you to fasten your seatbelts now, making sure they are pulled tight. And for your own safety, we recommend that you keep your seatbelts fastened during the entire flight. My name is Karen Sharp. I'm the purser on your flight today and do wish you a pleasant stay on board. You are welcome to use your own electronic equipment after takeoff when the fasten seatbelt signs above you have been switched off. The use of mobile phones is not generally permitted on board our aircraft, and therefore all mobile phones should be switched off completely at this time. Further details are available in your in-flight magazine, which you may find in the seat pocket in front of you. May we please remind you once more that you store heavy baggage under your front seats and not in the overhead compartments, as they may shift during flight. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will acquaint you now with the safety features of this aircraft. Please pay attention to the flight attendants. First of all, we demonstrate how to fasten and unfasten your seatbelt. If there is a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen masks will automatically drop from the cabin ceiling. If that happens, pull one of the masks towards you and press the opening firmly over your nose and mouth. Then assist any children travelling with you. Your life jacket is under your seat. Please observe the following demonstration. Pull the life jacket over your head, attach the straps to the hook in front, then pull the belt until it is tight. Just before you leave the aircraft, pull these red tabs to inflate your jacket. If necessary, use the rubber tubes to inflate it. Should you leave the aircraft through an emergency exit over the wings, do not inflate your jacket until you have left the aircraft. This small signal lamp lights up on contact with water when you pull the plug out of the battery. You will find an information card explaining all safety instructions in the seat pocket in front of you. Please take particular note of the location of the 8 emergency exits, which are all identified by the word exit. Illuminated escape path markings will guide you to these exits, and please keep in mind that the next available exit might be behind you. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to ask one of your flight attendants. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready for takeoff. Cabin is ready.
I don't know what's going on with that headset because I can hear myself talking through the headset. So some weird shit going on. I can see the receive light go on in V-Pilot and all that. It's like the operation was a success but the patient died sort of shit. It's pretty weird. Got a mate actually in Napier at the moment, for real, and going to be doing this flight tomorrow. Probably be a bit smoother than the way it's going to be done here. An immersion killer. Front page of the paper here today had an article about Qantas pilots that are going back to work now after the big COVID break. So they've had like a couple of years off, and they're forgetting, little bits and pieces. Like they're trying to take off with the parking brake on and a couple of things like that. I don't know if my scenery's 100% right for this bloody airport. It's a lot of grass on the taxiways and shit. It's pretty dodgy. Runway 28, 34 left and right. They're not really going to matter too much, I fucking think. There's Indigo. Fucking wrong again. Fun never stops. Funny. Got a crazy amount of fuel on. And look what's going down. The good people of Napier, best duck.
V1.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened until the seatbelt fasten sign in front of you has been switched off. We also remind you that this is a non-smoking flight and smoking in the lavatories is strictly prohibited. The entire crew is wishing you a pleasant stay on board. Thank you.
Yes, it was literally taxiway alfalfa. Exactly. 100% right, Dak. How are you going? Once again, I've been doing a little bit of work on the sim today. It's one of those things, every time you move something, change something. I just had a USB hub. It had a USB hub fail, but I didn't immediately think it might be the hub that's the problem. So I've gone down this rabbit hole of diagnosis, sort of going, oh, it could be this, could be that, oh, I better check this. So what it basically did is took out a lot of the enunciators. I use fidgets cards for all the enunciators in the sim, and I think there's a total of 4 cards. There's one in the fire panel, one in the MET, one in the aft overhead, and one in the forward overhead. Well, the MET and the forward overhead, of course, the two that you use the most are plugged into the same USB hub, but most recently, the last time I sort of put the sim together, I decided to label all the cables, so the ends of every USB cable are dutifully labelled with both ends, what they are, where they're going, which hub they're going to, and then of course things change, and ripped the overhead out one day and redid it and put it back in, and ended up plugging the overhead fidgets card into a different spot. But I still had a USB extension cord plugged into this hub that had a label on it that said forward overhead sort of thing. So it made troubleshooting it. I was saying to myself, it can't possibly be the hub. It can't possibly be the hub. Otherwise the other, like there's three things that are apparently plugged into this hub and one apparently works, sort of deal. So anyway, long story short, it was the hub. I ended up ripping the hub out, chucking it, and those couple of things that were plugged into it, I just whacked them into other hubs and now it's working. So you fix that, and then I had trouble with the audio today. So it goes on and on and on. Oh yeah, it was 3 hours of sort of pulling your hair out. And it's awkward sometimes, particularly on my own working on the sim, because you kind of got to jump into the sim, try something. That doesn't work. Physically get out of the sim, walk around, go on the outside of all the screens and stuff, and get under the hood. And you might just pull one thing out, plug it into somewhere else, and you sort of got to make your way physically around the whole setup, get back in, sit in the chair, grab a mouse and go test LEDs, and then go, that didn't work. Put the mouse down, get out, walk around. It's one of those things. It's just tedious. Tedious is the word. Tiresome, whatever. It just drives you mad. But touch wood, it seems to be going fantastically for like a couple of years now. Like I shouldn't complain. Like I know blokes that spend 10 years putting one of these together before they get in it and fly. Hello, where's the fun in that? Yes, I don't know what's going on here, but with the V-Pilot connection, it all looks sweet. I can see my transmit, they can hear me, I just literally can't hear them. I see the receive light come on when they're trying to talk to me, but just literally, just simply right at the end of that, just can't hear them. Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. I think your idea is along the lines of, like a, I was going to say a hybrid, but you're not building a specific aircraft. I think you're just sort of saying, I want something I can choose what aircraft I'm going to fly today. Just going to try this one more time. I just find it really hard to believe that it just won't work for me. Seconds. Audio. Two, yeah, and I can hear myself, that's what gets me. Yeah, just totally, everything looks right here. Right volume, blah, blah, blah. I'm basing on, an A320. Easy to access. Oh, yes, look. Yeah, now I hear what you're saying. Yep, absolutely. To be honest, the main thing that I would do different with this sim, if I was to start again, is I would have put the whole thing on casters. The whole thing would be on wheels. just without a doubt. Yeah. Look, I hear you, but yeah, sometimes that the stuff, the device, whatever it might be, a panel or whatever, it actually has to be in situ to do the testing, if that sort of makes sense. You know, ideally, in an ideal world, what you need is so much room around the sim that you can just get to anything anytime. You know, the MIP folds down, you can get to the back of it, then it folds back up, you know, that sort of thing. You know, you want the overhead so it drops down on hinges, you know, like for me to work on this, I've actually got to physically take it out of the sim, but then once it's out of the sim, it's disconnected from the sim. So you pull it out, it's dead, it's sitting on a workbench, You know, you solder away, you replace stuff, you muck about, you put it back in to test it. It's kind of tricky. And you know, the ultimate test is, how did it go? You know, how does it go when it's actually in situ and working in concert with everything else? You know. Never done this flight before, I might add, and I set it up. One of our old world flight pilots who now lives in New Zealand jumped on the feed before. I don't know if you can see the chat earlier, but I just picked a random town that I thought will have a big enough airport for the plane, and blow me down, he's physically, the town of Napier that we just left from, Adam is physically in the real world in Napier at the moment. Yeah, it's just so bizarre. He's in Napier at the moment, and he's flying from Napier to Christchurch, which is this flight, tomorrow. Like, for real. I just randomly picked the departure and the destination for this flight, and he's doing it tomorrow for real. Quite weird. Space is everyone's biggest enemy, mate. Yeah, no doubt about it. Where are we? 129 from Property Sink. I mean, you know, you're talking about the Alfalfa taxiway. I mean, I do have some sort of, some sort of Orbix New Zealand thing installed, and a couple of individual airports, but I don't think I've got that one. So I've probably just got the generic overview, you know, blanket New Zealand thing loaded. But yes, it was definitely taxiway. It sort of went alfalfa, then a bit of bitumen, then a bit of alfalfa, then a bit of bitumen, sort of thing. Why is it continuing that turn yet? That's what I don't know. Turn around thing again. It's like that slight bank thing I had the other day, Dave, isn't it? Ah, good on you. Good old Vienna to Innsbruck. See, it's got this rubbish happening again. That's with the autopilot on. It's got that little bit of bank going on. Oh, shut up. I think that's just a calibration thing, but the thing is, it does it when the autopilot's on, which just seems totally Looney Tunes. It does seem like a calibration thing, really, but weird. Look at that. Oh, the ailerons. Keeps on your toes, gives you something to do. Oh, the glass broke right on short final. Now the old Innsbruck approach, you know, it's always fun, you know, landing in the bottom of a valley. Glad I got this rudder trim panel working. So I'm actually keeping this thing on track at the moment. On track-ish. Funny, it doesn't do it for the whole flight. I just don't quite understand what's going on with this thing. And we'll get there, but it's just tricky. There we go, contact me message, that's going to be a problem. No. Hi mate, good to see you in the air, watching you live in Twitch. Oh good. NZ, 3 air ambulances, hopefully you get ATC sorted. Yes, thank you. Yes, thanks mate. Thanks mate. Everything's working except I can't hear it. You know, I said earlier, it's like that joke, you know, the operation was a success but the patient died. It's that. But I have been fiddling around with the simulator today, and I can see the receive light come on. I can hear myself. I can go into settings in vPilot or in Windows or whatever and check it all. It all works. But when an ATC talks to me, can't hear them. But as I say, I can see the receive light come on, the whole shooting match, you know, so they can hear me, I just simply can't hear them. I just wondered if it's something to do with the voice server and even maybe a distance problem, but apparently, you know, I don't know where you guys were. See, I was in Napier, I was on the ground in Napier, so just maybe you guys were, you know, maybe it was a voice server thing, I don't know. don't really know. But it, hand on heart, doesn't seem to be a problem here. But I wouldn't doubt that it could be. So let's see, how far are we? Top of descent now. 69 mile from top of descent. And it's kind of behaving at the moment too, which is kind of good.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Right, time for a quick pre-landing toilet break. I'll be back in a minute.
After that, you will have the opportunity to buy goods from our duty-free shop. Thank you.
Miss anything?
Golf Romeo 516 from Skyteam.
Now there you go. I can hear you perfectly, mate. Not a problem at all. I thought that might work. Funny, eh?
Hello, Tony. Yes, it was a bit strange. We could hear you, and then ATC was obviously replying to you, but you couldn't hear it.
Yeah, exactly. So this just confirms that I don't actually have a problem here. I think it might have been the ATC's problem, but I mean, you could hear them. So I'll put it back to the voice server being potentially the problem.
Yeah, we've had a couple of it being really glitchy and scratchy today, so could just be then. Hopefully, it just resets itself. But yeah, we're watching on stream and very jealous of your simulator.
Don't be jealous. There's a lot of work and a lot of money goes into this rubbish, you know. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it. You know, it's a lot of fun. I've got friends who spend lots more money than I've ever spent on this, on really dumb shit, and I think this is worthwhile. You know.
Exactly. I mean, it keeps you out of trouble, and it's good for the soul getting up in the air.
Yes, yeah, 100%. The one that I always trot out as an example, It was a very good friend of mine was one of these people that like racing cars, right? That just, at a very sort of speedway, dirt speedway level. But he would spend 2 years building a race car and $45,000 building a race car. Take it out to a track, be a great night, be the inaugural race, all this sort of thing. You get yourself set up and go and sit by the track and watch him go around 2 corners and then roll it.
Exactly. I mean, if you have a hard landing on this, you can just reset it and it doesn't cost you anything.
Exactly. The other one I always laugh about is guys that pay $4,000 a year to be in a golf club. They pay $9,000 for a set of immaculate clubs and go out every week and lose a couple of $100 worth of balls.
That's exactly it. But lucky we've got Flight Simulator, and we can't really lose anything now.
No, whenever I go to the bottle shop and buy beer, I always say to my wife, I'm just going to get some simulator fuel.
Yeah, I did see that in your hand.
Yeah, it's the only way to fly. The only reason I don't have a real 737 is you can't do that in a real one.
I don't think we can do that in the aviation full stop.
No, I get that. But anyway, thank you. And obviously this proves my headset is still working okay, and I think it was just one of those glitchy things that happen sometimes on VATSIM.
Yeah, it was a bit weird, but at least it's sorted. But good talking to you, Tony, and keep climbing.
Yeah, you take care. Thanks very much, mate. I'm going back to Unicom because the centre control has dropped off anyhow now.
Yeah, me too. See ya.
Cheers, mate. Thanks. Oh, there you go. That sorted that out. Thank you so much for that. Great help. Fantastic help, in fact. Seen you roll your jet too. Well, yes, of course. Who doesn't do that? You can't just sit level and straight all the time. Straight and level flight. Where's the fun in that? Anyway, the front page of the Sydney Morning Herald newspaper today had an article that actually my wife pointed out to me, which is funny as fuck. But it's basically dealing with Qantas pilots going back to work after such a protracted break. It says rusty Qantas pilots leave the park brake on. Made me laugh. It says Qantas is finding that pilots who have not flown for long periods due to the COVID-19 pandemic are making errors such as commencing takeoff with the parking brake on. Blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on. But some of the stuff they're talking about is they do the walk around and don't pull the this springs to mind. Where is it? That'll do. This springs to mind. They don't look at the flags on the landing gear pins. So there's a flight out of Sydney the other day, Qantas flight out of Sydney the other day, where they took off without pulling the pins out of the landing gear. So it took off, got airborne, and couldn't put the gear up. Just a couple of little minor hiccups like that sort of stuff. There was another one where they were confusing, fiddling around with the MCP and mucking up the speed and altitude settings, just confusing one for the other. What else did they do? There's a few things like that, but they're saying that the flight attendants, the actual flight attendants, we're starting to, we're struggling to get back to normal, which I thought was, equally interesting. Like they don't know when to bring the drinks trolley out, or, that sort of shit. Yeah, I don't know. They've forgotten the what do they call it? Like the safety briefing, that sort of stuff. And ironically, sort of then say, perhaps we should, it's all about training, because they're putting them straight back into circulation, but I think they call it recency is so out of whack, and their currency is so out of whack. Like their recency is 2 years, and their currency, who knows what they've done. Yeah, so I don't know. Oh, very tricky. Very tricky indeed.
And double check your departure gate. If your luggage is already checked through to your final destination, you don't have to worry about it. It will be transferred automatically. For further questions, please feel free to ask the cabin attendant or our ground personnel upon arrival.
So why don't you set something like an EFB up next to you so you don't have to... Oh, yeah, I know. I know exactly what you're saying. I've got a tablet here that is dropped off our little Wi-Fi network, and as a result, I'm turning around all the time. Yeah. But good point you make. I take your point. And I kind of set this up for, when we do these charity runs, like the Oz Flight thing and the World Flight thing. So when that's going on, we've got, a pilot flying a first officer, and we call it the second officer. That is actually sitting there keeping an eye on the feed and the chat on the feed and all that stuff, Not actually sure of the transition level in New Zealand. Is it 18 or 10? 180 or 100? Does anyone know? So, it doesn't kill my back, but it does kill my neck. I've got to give you that. And occasionally I'll just put the feed on the little phone here. But there's so much going on when like I'm doing now. If you're flying on your own, there's just so much going on that, to be watching that, typing into that, thinking about this and trying to fly the plane, it's kind of like, it's all about flying the plane really, so you sort of need to worry about that at the top of the list in a way. Or not. I mean, you could just chat away and yap your head off and smack into the ground, I suppose, like I'm probably going to do here. Frankly, fair chance of it. There's a crazy amount of fuel. For some reason, the centre fuel tank is just got this crazy amount of fuel in it. Anyway, makes it all so much more interesting. to do that, then we're going to do that. We're going to go there, and there. Check a mad-ass Huey, and possibly land in Christchurch. What could possibly go wrong apart from this being... Oh no, we're not too far off the profile now. Speed's still mental. Speed's still mental. Speed is absolutely mental. Calls for drastic action, doesn't it? It's always the way. I've spent 3 hours this morning working on the sim. You then spend 2 days setting it all right again. Oh, thanks for that, Dak. Yeah, there were some bloody muck-ups with that. Yeah, there were some muck-ups with that. What had happened, you know, the spinal cord research thing is called the Perry Cross Foundation, right? And the girl that I'd been talking to sort of set that all up, was actually the cause of the problem, to be honest, and she admitted it. But what she'd done is she'd put their, if you donated via PayPal, like it went straight through my system to their PayPal thing, like to their little setup. But she had put 3 R's in the word Perry. Like instead of P-E-R-R-Y cross, she put P-E-R-R-R. And so anyone that donated to that charity after she mucked that up, basically it just sat there as like a pending thing in PayPal, and it sat there for ages. And her and I got on to the people at PayPal and blah blah blah, and the people at not Twitch but Streamlabs, because it was set up through a Streamlabs charity sort of deal, and no one could sort it out. Like no one could sort it out. The best they could organise was to just let it like die a natural death, and she was going to try and email everyone that had that issue, but I don't think she did that. I don't think she could do that because the people at PayPal kind of said, you know, we just can't give you willy-nilly, you know, email addresses just because, you know, you can't spell, sort of thing. You know, it was sort of a muck-up. It really was quite a muck-up. But anyway, that problem only kicked in, you know, I mean, I say only, it kicked in a couple of weeks before World Flight, but truth be known, the Oz Flight event was a raging success. The Oz Flight event was raising money for that Perry Cross Spinal Research Foundation thing. So the Oz Flight event had already raised 4.5 or 5 grand or something like that. So it was kind of, as it turned out, it was kind of okay. But it was a bit of a shame that during World Flight, just before World Flight, she sort of changed this bloody email address thing and mucked it up. I don't know why they touched it, frankly. But anyway, thank you very much again, Dak, for doing that. I appreciate it. Oh, you did get an email? Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good, because I didn't know if... Did that come from the girl at Perry Cross, the woman at Perry Cross Foundation, or did that come from PayPal? I'd be interested to know where that email came from, because clearly I'd donated half a dozen bits of money during the World Flight thing, and I didn't get that email, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it was a muck up, absolute bit of a muck up, really. I'll just extend my downwind here just a little bit. I'll enjoy the scenery. Christchurch traffic, Golf Romeo 516, out to turn to final runway 02. Get out of the fucking way. Then I was going, oh, we got this mental amount of fuel on board. It's just fucking ridiculous. Anyway. don't think I've ever landed with this much fuel. Landing at runway altitude is 120 feet. There it is. Didn't even think you're on the approach. Yeah, baby, you can do it. How much can it be? I overshot that a little bit, I must admit. That, isn't it? A bit early for the 500 call out.
Minimums.
We can do this. We're all counting on you. Don't do this, buddy.
40.
Too early. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. We can do this. Feel that.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Told you we could do it. Now there's the fun part of flight simming, I reckon. Oh no, where's the applause? That's what I want to know. And why didn't someone remind me to put my landing lights on? That's what I want to know. Let's get off this runway. I'll get off this runway and have a look at the feed again. You know, the chat. As I've said for a long time, sort of more focused on flying the plane than chatting. You're better off chatting amongst yourselves. Yeah, Christchurch traffic, Golf Romeo 516, clear of 02. Oh, you got, oh, okay, that's good, Dak. You got it from PCF, good. And Josh, oh, thanks for the follow, Josh. I'm assuming that's the, yeah, the controller. Thanks very much, mate. You wouldn't be the first controller to follow the feed. But actually, you're back on 1290. I'm just going to try that. Hey, Cento, Golf Romeo 516 radio check.
Station calling Auckland Radio for the radio check. Say again, call sign.
Yeah, this is Golf Romeo 516.
Golf Romeo 516 Auckland Radio, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Gary. Appreciate it.
Good.
There you go. There you have it. Yeah. So, Josh, I don't know. I know what was going on there, but it was good fun. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for following along again, Dak. Appreciate your patronage and your input. Talk soon.